Hello, I'm Rico Cavilla. Welcome to this episode of Fearless Aging. And the title of this segment is The Nervous System's Secret to Aging Well in Mind, Body, and Spirit. So, we're going to talk about quantum yoga. And to me, I think the term quantum means multidimensional yoga, yes. And our expert guest, her name is Mariko Hayakawa. She is the founder and CEO of Visionary Yoga, a unique personal development company that uplifts and transforms leaders. She is also an international best-selling author of the book The Yoga of Personal Development. Having achieved her early goal in life to become a professional ballet dancer, she had filled her life purpose, but was left questioning her true path in life. So this is when she discovered yoga as a scientific system for the unleashing of human potential, and working as a yoga instructor, she attracted many terminal illness patients. And this led to a burning quest for a healing modality to help them, and it led her to pursue the study of yogic healing science as its source in India. In 2003, she was accepted as a fellowship scholar to study Ayurvedic medicine and yoga in India, where she lived for 10 years. Wow. And studied with master healers and yogis. Since returning to the West in 2013, Mariko has made it her life mission to help men and women restore their physical, mental, spiritual vitality so they can live their purpose and make the impact that they were meant to make in this life. So, Mariko Hayakawa, thanks so much for being here.
What an honor and joy, Rico. So nice to be here. Thank you.
And I really I like what we said here in your bio, because that's what it's all about. It's all about being as healthy and as energetic so you can live your purpose, right? I mean, we're all here with a purpose, right? We're not here
Yes,
for no reason. So that's the big thing, that more people need to be living their life on purpose. And I think that's true. We have a much more peaceful and prosperous world for everybody, wouldn't they?
absolutely. And I began to really think about my work as, helping people to live from their future self, which, sounds abstract, but it's really what I mean by the future self is like the most highest and vital expression of, because we have many versions of ourselves, right? There's many possible versions of ourselves, but out of that, that's what is, the quantum is like, out of all the possibilities, like choosing the highest, striking the highest, and being very intentional in how we live day to day, moment to moment.
I was just going to ask you about that because I really like that. And for me, living from your highest self or our future self, because we can kind of get stuck and maybe things aren't going quite so well right now. But if you keep your focus on what you can become, and what's possible in your life, that's going to raise up your vibration and keep you motivated, right?
Absolutely. It's really right now, especially in the decade of the 2020s, it's well, 1920s was called the roaring 20s, but this is another kind of roar, right? The 2020s. There's so much happening. It's like the dismantling of one version of the civilization and rebuilding of another. There's old paradigms dissolving and new ones not yet erected. So there's so much happening in the three-dimensional realm of space-time, right? That we are all think of as reality. So it's important to have practices, or at least one practice that helps us rise above the din, and transcend that and find that most vital version of yourself, no matter what's happening in the outer world, personally or politically or environmentally or whatever else. So that is really, I think, important thing that yoga, what I call yoga with a capital Y, can teach us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you're doing some really great work because as you just mentioned, there's so much chaos right now, but we're going through this shift, right? We're going through this shift, and I think from the spiritual teachings that I know about, the light is finally becoming to start to take over the darkness in the world, and so, but it exposes a lot more things that are going on in the world,
Right.
and so people can get kind of living in a little bit of fear and anxiety, but really we're moving forward in the right direction. So it's so important to as you mentioned, to live with intention and what you can become. So let's talk about you talk about the nervous system. The nervous system is really what uh, regulates everything in our system. So talk about how that works and talk a little bit about how the nervous system works.
Yes, so I have noticed, especially in this age of massive turbulence and shift, that some people are just living in constant state of anxiety, like low grade anxiety and fear always, and it's so important to have a daily practice of regulating your nervous systems. We have mainly we know that we have the parasympathetic nervous system, which is really handling your baseline, keeping your organs nourished, and all those vital functioning. And that is so important to stay primarily in your parasympathetic nervous system. Uh, and sympathetic nervous system should be reserved for those real emergencies, right? And in old days, it's like the saber-toothed tiger, but we're not living in that age anymore. But that sympathetic nervous system tends to stay jacked up because the world is shifting, and it seems every day there's a headline or that's like what we tend to start living in the sympathetic nervous system, and then we start reacting to and we're focused. When you're in survival mode, your focus is automatically on the negative, because if you're living in the jungle and saber-toothed tiger could attack you, then you want to be aware of the most threatening thing in your environment, right? But that works very much against us when you're trying to evolve, when you're trying to expand, deepen your ability to live from joy, from an expanded state. We start living in survival instead. So that is why yoga is one of the most universal, non-denominational, scientific. What I mean by scientific is that it is ABC, step by step. No matter what religion, what faith, what your belief, what your orientation is, it works because it's aligned with universal laws. So that is one of the greatest gifts from the sages who gave us yoga. And the sages never claimed they invented it. It's not a thing that's created from the human mind. It's very clear. The sages say we're just channels, and we're just, telling it to you like it is, how we receive it from our deep meditations. And they were called seers. Rishis means seers because the perceptions were so clear, and they could just, you know, receive it. And then they gave it to us as they saw. They said, here are the laws. Now do with it what you think is right. So they gave us a lot of freedom. And of course, with freedom comes great responsibility, right? So, first thing in yoga I see today is that there's so much emphasis on movement and posture. And we see it everywhere, the Instagram, and there's so much emphasis on crazy feats of, standing on your head, lotus pose, or crazy acrobatic feats. And people start to think, wow, yoga is amazing, but it's not for me because I can't do that, and it becomes also a thing maybe only for young people because, it's not, people can't conceive of their own body doing that. But that misses the point because yoga truly is for everybody. The physical yoga that we see advertised as yoga is just a sub branch of a branch called hatha yoga. That's the physical yoga. But there is mainly four major branches of yoga. So there's karma yoga, yoga of action, of mindful action, aligned action. There is the yoga of devotion, of learning to channel your emotions in the higher way. And then there is the yoga of knowledge, self-knowledge, which means, inquiring, performing self-inquiry, and sharpening your faculty of discernment. And then you have the yoga of Raja Yoga, the meditation. So Hatha Yoga, what we see in the world is a branch of Raja Yoga. People, sages developed it so that they could sit longer without their bodies aching. So originally, Hatha Yoga, this yoga that we see today, was for the purpose of being able to meditate and hold those deeper states, And that's why the Hatha Yoga, it comes from an awakened nervous system, you know. In the yogic tradition, there is a master to disciple, guru shishya parampara, we call it. From master to disciple, this transmission of sacred energy happened, and this awakening, when the awakening of energy happened, that awakened energy started to push through and clear the nervous system of all the impurities that had accumulated. And so the yogi's body spontaneously went into postures, kind of this. So it created many postures, asanas in Hatha Yoga comes from the awakening of that original Kundalini awakening. And that's why when we do those asanas, those postures, there is a natural balancing of the nervous system that happens. It's really such a simple but ingenious, way this yoga was developed. So that's, by practicing those asanas and the breathing practices also, they start to really create a much more balanced state of mind. And the body is accessible, the breath is accessible. It's very hard to control the mind. It's very hard to control the mind. It's a monkey mind, right? So how do we regulate our inner state? Through accessing our posture. Your physiology becomes your psychology, right? That's how we regulate our inner state. For every state of being, there is a certain rate of breathing. Some states, your inhalation is longer than your exhalation. Like when you're depressed, you exhale a lot more than you inhale. It's like that, right? So by regulating your inhales and exhales and prolonging the holding between breaths, you can heighten awareness and you can kind of like de-escalate your nervous system. And this is key to longevity. If you're reacting to everything all the time and your breath is shallow and irregular, it's like creating chaos in your viscera, in your nervous system, right? So
I
this
just
is
want to add, we now know, from medical science that what manifests in our physical body as some kind of a chronic illness, it begins in our mental emotional state. So that's why it's so important to get a handle on your mental state and your emotions and your nervous system. So you mentioned that there's really four different stages of yoga. So you you utilize all these different four stages when you work with people to help them to.
Yes, well, people have different natures, right? Some people are predominantly intellectual. In this digital era, I think many people are leading with their intellect, with their, and intellect is a sharp knife, right? But us, we try to create wholeness through the intellectual analysis, but that's like scalpel, So for every some people are more emotional in nature, and so for each type of person, some people are more action oriented, some people are naturally drawn to meditation. So these are four different four paths, all leading to the same goal of self-realization. But the sages realized there's different dominance, different nature of people, right? Some people are very action oriented, they can't sit still. So for those people, the yoga of action is so important, and so it's in the great, we call this Maha Yoga, the modern contemporary masters of yoga, such as Satchidananda, who gave us integral yoga, and Muktananda. There's great contemporary sages who brought yoga to the West. They understood that in this era we need an integrated path. Nobody is going to follow exclusively one path. It has to be integrated. And still, people will be drawn to some people are drawn to chanting, and, they want to express through melody, and that devotional chanting helps open them up. Some people want to do the postures, the hatha yoga. They're athletes, and that's the way they want to pursue that path. So for each human being, according to what we call in yoga sanskar, their impressions, the way they've been molded through life. And yoga talks about not just this life, but other lifetimes as well. We were born in a certain dominance, right? And I have more of a devotional nature, so I find the chanting of the mantras really helps to open up my heart, and it charges my, my energy field. But people are different, so different natures, and for each person, and it's not one is better than the other. We have to find that yoga that is, that you have a natural affinity with, and do that path. That's the genius of the sages.
Well, also, since you study Ayurvedic medicine, so you
Yes,
also help people with Ayurvedic is like a holistic type of natural.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I
With
felt, yeah, when I was, won this scholarship, I wanted to, because I had this experience of when I first started to teach yoga, encountering all these stage 4 terminally ill cancer patients, and it was devastating for me as a fledgling teacher. But it taught me so much. They were my greatest gurus, really. They taught me how to, face life, but I also wanted to give them things that help ease their state. And I was hoping to find a cure in Ayurveda. I still haven't found it, but there are many things that are very helpful to strengthen your immune system, to allow support your body in resisting dis-ease, and also learning. It's also a discipline of self-knowledge, self-awareness. Like, what is your elemental makeup? Hot yoga is not for everybody, because it can be very helpful for somebody of an earth constitution versus, air or fire constitution. So it's knowing yourself, and knowing what foods and place and activity is going to balance you, and what is going to imbalance you. So Ayurveda is very helpful in living your daily day-to-day life. um,
So we're just about out of time. Mariko, talk a little bit about you. I know you have some online courses that you teach, and also you also offer intensive retreats. So just talk a little bit about that, who they're for, and what they're going to learn in those courses.
okay. So, I want to just offer to your tribe this wonderful gift that is about activating your future self, because we're all, tend to live from past conditioning. Conditioning is so strong, and in this era of the 2020s, it's important to, on a daily basis, to really touch the higher frequency version of you. So this is called quantum future self activation meditation. And you can find this at visionaryyoga.com/future self. So visionaryyoga.com/future self. And it's a practice you can do about 10 to 15 minutes, that to access that higher version of you, to regulate your nervous system. And to go deeper into that, I offer retreats that is really about really doing that work on a daily basis. The physical yoga, but all the practices of the classical yoga that is updated by modern science, to help us step into that most vital and abundant and resilient version of ourselves. And the next one will be in May 2026, May 1st through 3rd, 2026, in the beautiful Catskills in New York. And it's just joyous renewal, because again, it's about renewing, living life with a fresh, young spirit, and waking up with joy and purpose, and understanding, like, every day, spending each moment in a meaningful way, because we've been given this life. It's a gift.
It's a choice, isn't it? We
Absolutely.
can
It's a
choose to
moment
live.
of choice.
All right. Well, I will definitely, and so they can just at your website they can find out all about your course and
Yes, visionaryyoga.com. Yes.
and then we'll definitely put that link where they can get your gift of that future self activation meditation. That's so good. Mariko, thanks so much for being here. And thanks for the work that you're doing. It's so needed in the world today. Thank you so much for that. And I really enjoyed our conversations. So thanks to our audience. And
Me
any last
too.
word?
Thank you so
Any
much
last
for the work you
word?
do.
All right. All right. Thank you very much.